Hey guys, it's me Jocelyn. So today I'm going to be doing a part 2 to simplistic transitions on alight motion. So let's just get started. First things first, you're going to want to have your two photos set up like this, or your two clips. These transitions will look much better if you have two photos that are probably taken like within the same day, like if they posted multiple slides or photos on Instagram, or even just the same color scheme, so that way it'll look a lot nicer. But they don't need to be, it's just like preference. So you want to have your photos set up like this, one all the way underneath and one like a second in on top of it, and go to that first one that's on top and add on a cube, and go ahead and go to shading and select flat. Now go to scale, zoom it all the way in just like this, add one keyframe at the beginning, go to the end of your clip, add another keyframe, and zoom it out to about right here. Now just do whatever graph you want. I'm going to do a fast one so it doesn't really take forever, so it looks like this. Now go ahead and you can go on to orientation, and I'm going to go to this one right here. I'm going to add one keyframe at the beginning and one at the end. And on the first one, I'm just going to slide it just like this to about -144, so it looks like that. And I'm going to do this cube right here. So you can keep rotating it until it looks like what you want it to look like. And obviously you can leave it like that, but what I do is I do an opacity fade in. So I go to blending and opacity, turn the opacity down, add a keyframe, move a couple frames forward, add another keyframe, and turn the opacity back up. So this is what the final product will look like. It'll definitely look a lot better if you rotate it some more and add a little bit more blur. And yeah. Okay, so this next transition is going to be a slide with a little bit of a flash or exposure. So first things first, we're not going to do a regular slide. We're going to go on to move and transform. And we're going to select offset right here. And you're going to want to select the X category right here. Add one keyframe at the beginning, one at the end, and move it the way I'm moving it, so it's moving towards the positive numbers. And go ahead and make an in graph, just like I am. And you can make yours fast, slow, it just depends on how you want it to look in your edit. And just finish off that transition on your second slide. Now, before anybody comes for me saying these are boring, these are like not cool at all, that's the point. They're supposed to be simplistic. So yeah, so now just slide it the opposite way of what you did the first time. So you're going to make it negative of whatever the number you slid it by the first time. And it'll end up looking something like this. Now go ahead and add on a flash. So you're going to want to go to color and light. This next transition is going to be a distorted zoom out. So what you want to do is you want to add tiles to both of your photos, which is in the distortion and warp category, which I think most of us know, but if you're new, you probably don't. I'm just going to add them to both of my photos just like this. Now, you're just going to do a simple zoom out. So it'll end up looking like this. Now just go ahead and finish off that zoom out on your second photo. And you can just keep the zoom out, but that's simplistic, but this is like adding a little kick to it. So what you want to do is on your first photo, go to distortion and warp and add pinch and bulge. Make the strength 0 for the first keyframe, and on the second one, make it -1.00. Now just do an in graph, and you can increase the radius for that as well. So this is what it'll start off looking like. Now you can go on to your second photo, add pinch and bulge again, make the strength +1.00, and then back down to just 0. Do an out graph. Make sure to increase the radius on this as well. Now you can go ahead and you can go back to distortion and warp and add on circular ripple. Make the frequency 1.00. You're going to have to do a lot of sliding, so just prepare for that. And you can make the strength about, I'd say, oh, my bad, I'm so sorry. make sure to make the radius 80, which is the most it can be. And don't actually make the strength negative 500, make it positive 500 or somewhere around there. So it'll end up looking like this. This looks a bit weird because I didn't add a graph on yet. So just make sure to add on a graph to your strength category. And this is the final product. It's going to look a ton better with motion blur, so make sure to add that. And yeah. So for this next transition, you're going to have your photo set up like this, just like you did for the first transition. Now on your photo that's on top, go to the zoom in category, add 2 keyframes, one at the beginning and one at the end. And on the first one, slide your photo all the way to 0. I need to go ahead and erase tiles real quick. Or you could even just slide it to around like 100. Just make sure it's so tiny enough that you can't really see it. And just make sure it's zooming in like this. I added shadow onto mine as well, just so it has a shadow when it pops up. That's optional, but it definitely gives it a little bit more of a better look. Now, I'm just going to make a fast graph so it pops up real fast, just like this. And I'm going to add an opacity fade, which is apparently my new favorite thing because I do that so much in my edits. So you want to go to opacity, slide it down a little bit, add a keyframe, move a few frames forward, add another keyframe, and increase the opacity, just like this. Now you can leave it like this, but I'm not going to do that. I personally like it with a flash, so I'm going to go and add on exposure, which is just going to give it a little flash. And I'm going to add on a simple graph to that. And I think I'm actually going to get rid of the shadow because it's affecting the zoom in, but this is what it'll end up looking like. Now for this last transition, you have 2 different options. You can either use the zoom method in the zoom in panel where you hit the little infinity sign and stretch the photo apart, or you can do it the way I'm doing it and you can go to stretch axis in the move and transform category. It's whatever one you like more. So go ahead and go on to move and transform and select stretch axis. Now make sure you're on scale, add 2 keyframes, one at the beginning and one at the end, and slide your photo open like I'm doing right here. And you can do any graph you prefer. I'm just going to do a regular graph, just like this. And now go on to your second photo, add stretch axis again, add 2 keyframes, one at the beginning and one at the end. And on the one at the beginning, make sure to slide it the opposite way you did the first time so it ends up looking like this. And you can add on a bouncy graph if you want, like a little bouncy stretch open. But I'm just looking for more of a simple one for this tutorial. And yeah. You could even add on a flash, you could add on shakes to make it look so much better if you wanted to give it a little bit more pizzazz, I guess, and yeah.